What is happening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? How are we all? Welcome back to the Nerdic Pro podcast for podcast episode number 162, I believe. 160. 163, apologies. The reason why I'm doing this week's episode of Nerdic Pro Weekly today instead of Monday is because over the weekend at Lion Wrestling Promotions, King of the Castle show, well setting the ring up. It must have been while setting the ring up. I ended up pulling a muscle in my back, and the past how long's it been since King of the Castle? 5 days, 3, 4, 5, or however long it's been. 3, 4, 5 days. My back's been in fucking agony. And then rolling around in the ring, refereeing the Marco Marinelli versus C.W. Davis match in the first round of the King of the Castle tournament. Didn't help it whatsoever. But, woke up in the hotel room that I was booked in the following morning, and, I'll say that I was up all night, but, so literally woke up many times during the night in mental agony. It's still not 100% now, hence why I've had to push it back a couple of days. Apart from all that, welcome to episode, I believe this is 55 of the Nerdic Pro podcast, Nerdic Pro Weekly. For those of you that do not know who I am, my name is Bobby Salistar, and I am your Nerdic Pro podcast general manager. And I'm here today to do a bit of fantasy booking in terms of the bloodline in WWE. Now, I've got various notes down here for the bloodline. And what I would personally like to see in the coming the coming weeks, the coming months, etc. And mainly the build up to WrestleMania 39 next year, next April. This is just going to be the main topic for today's podcast. However, I would also like to talk a bit about the Nerdic Pro Podcast's YouTube page before we actually do get started. Last night I did a Salistar Ratings podcast for YouTube. That was uploaded at some point last night. It is now active on YouTube, and it is now watchable on YouTube for you amazing people to go and watch and listen to. That was a Salistar Ratings episode of this past Monday's WWE Monday Night Raw. So it's basically giving my star ratings of this past Monday's Monday Night Raw. From now, all Salistar Ratings podcasts will be specifically YouTube podcasts. So if anyone would like to see any Salistar Ratings podcast, then YouTube will be the platform specifically for Salistar Ratings. Salistar Ratings will not be the only topic actually spoke about on the Nerdic Pro Podcast's YouTube channel. I'm going to try and get together with Stuart, Ben, and Tommy at some point to do some more podcasts on YouTube. The Salistar Ratings podcast you will only be able to find on YouTube from now on. I will do some mini podcasts just designated to Salistar Ratings of shows that I've already rated previously to put up onto YouTube. So Hell in a Cell, Survivor Series from this year, Final Chronicle from Pro Wrestling Noah back in 2020. And yeah, all three of those shows that I've just mentioned have 5-star matches on them. Survivor Series this year, having 2 of them. Final Chronicle, the main event was, I believe it was Takashi Sugiura versus Go Shiozaki for the Pro Wrestling Noah Global Honor Crown GHC Heavyweight Championship. Absolute fucking belter of a match. Probably one of the best matches of 2020, to actually say the least. And yeah, so yeah, Hell in a Cell from this year has a 5-star match, which was the main event between Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes, which was, funnily enough, the only Hell in a Cell match on a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. Work that one out. Yeah, I rated that match 5 out of 5. Survivor Series this year was obviously a War Games theme for Survivor Series. The 2 matches that I actually gave 5 stars were the opening match, which was the women's War Games match, and the main event, which was the men's War Games match. So yeah, both of them matches I had rated 5 out of 5, and yeah, so yeah, but yeah, any other sort of show that I rate, I've literally just finished watching last Wednesday's episode of All Elite Wrestling AEW Dynamite. I will either record that just after this podcast and then upload it straight away, or record it and upload it at some point tomorrow. So yeah, because that show has 2 4.75 star ratings. This was the show with Dax Harwood of FTR, Dax the Axe Harwood versus the American Dragon Bryan Danielson as the opening contest. Absolute belter of a match. And then you also had the AEW World Trios title Best of 7 series, match 3 of 7 between the Bastard Pack, Penta El Zero Miedo, and Rey Fenix of Death Triangle versus Nick Jackson, Matt Jackson of the Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega of the Elite. Both those matches I rated 4.75 out of 5. So yeah, I've also rated a dud rating, which is a 0-star rating, which was the absolute Ricky Starks versus Arya Daivari match, which was the 3rd match on the card. Literally over within 30 seconds. There was no sort of oomph into it at all. So yeah, but yeah, this isn't YouTube, this is Facebook Live. So yeah, going on to the fantasy booking side of things. So yeah, YouTube is now going to be the home of the Salastar ratings podcast. And yeah, so yeah, before we do get into that, I would like to have another sort of topic in this podcast, which is the whole William Regal situation. Obviously, last Wednesday's episode of Dynamite, which was the show that I've literally just spoken about, MJF was in his sort of celebration segment over winning the AEW World Championship after beating Jon Moxley at Full Gear. So it'll be 3 weeks ago this coming Saturday. Yeah, with his new mentor, if you want to call it that, of Sir William Regal. Obviously, the whole situation on how Regal and MJF actually came together was the referee got knocked down in the world title match at Full Gear between MJF and Jon Moxley, Maxwell Jacob Friedman. and John Moxley, formerly known as Dean Ambrose in WWE. And Moxley, Regal went to Moxley and was like, "Go check on the ref, get him up. You've now got the the upper hand in the match." So Moxley did, blah blah blah. Moxley goes to the official, the referee, and tries to, get him up. To Moxley's surprise, William Regal slides a brass knuckle to Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF. MJF picks up the brass knuckle, swats John Moxley over the head with said brass knuckle. Moxley goes down. MJF throws away the brass knuckle. MJF goes in for the pin. The referee is now up at this point, completely oblivious to the brass knuckle shot. MJF goes in for the pin. 1, 2, 3. MJF. Maxwell Jacob Friedman is your brand new All Elite Wrestling World Champion. I really don't know. Straight away, I really didn't know what to actually say at this point. Because, if truth be told, I was half expecting MJF to win as it was. But, with help and with help from William Regal, and with William Regal's intention, and with the intentional help of William Regal to actually have MJF win the match and become the new AEW World Champion, to actually beat John Moxley for the AEW World title, I was not expecting that whatsoever. I know I didn't actually do a predictions podcast for Full Gear, but I did have some notes somewhere in the pad. Somewhere it's in here somewhere. For my predictions for Full Gear, I did have predicted down that MJF was going to win, right? But didn't think in the slightest that we were going to see a William Regal heel turn. Was I expecting it? No. Was it a good thing? Coming out of it, yes. Right? As personally, I'd have liked to have seen a partnership between MJF and William Regal. As I do think that this would have been a pretty decent looking sort of duo, if you want to call it that. Manager and competitor, manager professional wrestler, manager pro wrestler, whatever. So obviously William Regal comes out on the next episode of Dynamite. MJF isn't there. This was in Chicago, out of all places. But, so William Regal comes out and then says, MJF isn't here in Chicago, yada, yada, yada. However, he will be appearing on the next episode of Dynamite, which was the most, at the time of recording this podcast, the most recent episode of Dynamite. Oh my god. So this past Wednesday's episode of Dynamite, right? MJF twats William Regal round the back of the head, right? And pretty much knocks him out unconscious. And the wrestling world goes fucking insane, saying that William Regal is going back to WWE. Where people were actually getting all this from, I do not know. right? I suppose, obviously, Triple H put out something on Twitter, I want to say a day or two after Survivor Series this year. Obviously, with Survivor Series having a War Games sort of filter and like themed matches to it. Obviously, with William Regal, with the times that NXT had actually had the War Games matches, he'd obviously, whenever he'd announce a War Games match or speak about War Games, he'd be like, War Games, or whatever. And he put Triple H, who's the new head of, well, I say new, but the sort of head of creative in WWE, put out a post on Twitter, put out a tweet on Twitter saying that tonight, saying something like, tonight would have been a whole lot better with this man, and put up a picture of William Regal, right? And literally everyone, like, I'm on like a million wrestling related pages on Facebook. I've said that a million times here on the Nerdic Pro podcast. But literally, the pages that I'm on, literally, and the pages that I follow, like the wrestling page, like the wrestling sort of like accounts, if you want to call it that I follow on Facebook, literally blew up saying, are we going to see William Regal return at some point? No, to WWE. My guess is probably when his contract's up. Like, my guess at the time, probably when his contract's up. But according to, I can't remember if it was PW Insider or Fightful that first reported on it. I know Dave Meltzer has put his 2 cents worth in, but yeah, so I'll get on to Dave Meltzer in just a minute, but I can't remember if it was Sean Ross Sapp from Fightful or whoever from the PWI reported saying that William Regal's contract is either already expired or expiring in the next couple of weeks, and will definitely be expired come the Royal Rumble. And will definitely be expiring in the coming weeks. And then Dave Meltzer, I've seen reports from him saying that Regal's still got 3 years left on his contract, right? And then just as soon as PWI or Sean Ross Sapp or whoever actually say that Regal's contract is actually coming to an end, Dave Meltzer then comes out and says, oh yeah, definitely, like he's being pushed out the door of AEW. Fuck off, Meltzer, you little dick, right? Fucking, honestly, I ain't gotta get into too much details like over Dave Meltzer, because I think he's a prick, right? Yeah, so, will we be seeing Regal back in WWE by the Rumble? I've got no sort of knowledge at all when it comes to Regal's contract in AEW. I've got no idea what he thinks of AEW. All I've seen is, fucking hell, I can never remember who I fucking read it from, but it was either PWI, the Pro Wrestling Insider, or Fightful, so Sean Ross Sapp. So Sean Ross Sapp's sort of people, like reporting it, from Fightful Select, saying that it was a bad move actually signing with AEW, right? But yeah, so from what I've heard and what I've seen and what I've read, supposedly William Regal has publicly come out and said that it was a bad move and a bad suggestion and basically just like an all-round shit thing, actually signing with AEW. Which obviously I'm not your Sean Ross Sapps of society. I'm not your Brian Alvarez's of society. I'm not your fucking Uncle Dave Meltzer. Your big Davey Meltzes of society. Right? I've got no inside knowledge to AEW. I've got no inside knowledge to the WWE. Right? I'm only reading off reports. Right? So yeah, Will we be seeing Regal back in WWE? I hope so. Do you know what I mean? I really do. If his contract is in the expiration sort of period, so we're coming up to the end of Regal's contract in AEW, would I personally like to see Regal back in WWE and probably regain general managership of the black and gold brand of NXT? Of course I fucking would. Do you know what I mean? Because let's face it, since this whole sort of rebranding of NXT from NXT to NXT 2.0, it's been a pile of shit. Do you know what I mean? Excuse me, it really has, and that's putting it politely. Not saying that it's been a pile of shit every single week and every single pay-per-view or premium live event as in WWE sports entertainment, but would I like to see William Regal back as NXT general manager? Yes. Would I like to see him back in WWE? Yes. Would I like to see him stay in AEW? Yes. Right? As you know, here at the Nerdic Pro podcast, we love to fantasy book, right? Myself and Stuart especially, we fucking fantasy book like crazy, do you know what I mean? So there's many, many different ways that we can fantasize Regal's return in WWE, even if he just gets announced as like a backstage role and very rarely has any sort of TV interactions and like any sort of crowd interactions with anyone, and very rarely has any sort of like in-ring segments, right? I would still like to see William Regal back in WWE to some capacity. Do you know what I mean? So what can we expect to see between MJF and William Regal? Is this the end of William Regal in AEW? Like, was that segment last week on Dynamite the end of William Regal in AEW point blank, full stop? In the real world, probably for the next month and a half, going on to 2 months, had Triple H not actually put out that post on Twitter saying about War Games would have been a hell of a lot better with William Regal at hand. Had he not have actually tweeted that, I believe maybe at Revolution, which is what, February, March-ish short of time, we see a match between, for the AEW World title, between the reigning champ of He's Better Than You, and you know it, of Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF, versus the returning to the ring, Sir William Regal. Would that be a bad call? I think, as I've just said, had Hunter or Paul Levesque or whatever you want to call him, Triple H or whatever, Triple H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Paul Levesque, whatever you want to call him, didn't actually put out that tweet, I personally would have already done a fantasy booking podcast again already of a match between Regal and MJF at Revolution for the AEW World title. Right? Call me insane, call me mad. Yes, I am mad. Yes, I am insane. Right? But the Nerdic Pro podcast, all four of us, we are insane. We're all nutcases. Right? Myself, Ben, Tommy, and Stuart. Right? We're all nutcases, like in our own aspect, right? Tommy's a Norwich supporter, fucking get over that. Ben and fucking Stuart, the Bellends, are Chelsea supporters, right? So fucking again, work your head around that. fuck knows why the fucking Chelsea, like out of all teams. But yeah, up the Arsenal. But yeah, so maybe not a match at Revolution. I'm gonna have to probably come back to Spotify and Anchor and do a podcast on there, on those platforms of Anchor and Spotify podcasts, Anchor podcast and Spotify podcasts. A fantasy booking podcast. Maybe have a 2, maybe 3-part series of actually fantasizing and fantasy booking William Regal, right? Because when he first came in to AEW, obviously Tony Khan purchasing Ring of Honor was already a thing at that point. So I originally thought come William Regal's, like after even William Regal's debut in AEW, I had originally thought that we were going to see William Regal as the Ring of Honor general manager, right? So yeah, obviously when Ring of Honor actually gets around to coming back full time, maybe seeing William Regal as the ROH general manager, just the exact same of how he actually was for NXT, right? And even at one stage, the Raw general manager, wasn't he, at one point? Yeah, so there's so many things that I can go on about. There really is, for my sort of wants to an extent, my expectations for it, and just all round sort of fantasizing and fantasy booking William Regal in general. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, so anyways, stay tuned into the Spotify and Nerdic, the Nerdic Pro Podcasts Spotify and Anchor page, or pages, as I'm pretty sure at some point in the coming days I will be doing 2, maybe 3 episodes of fantasy booking just on William Regal. Maybe being joined by a Ben Jackson Taylor or a Mr. Stuart Jones. Maybe. But yeah, I guess we're going to have to wait and see. Moving on to the Bloodline. War Games. Survivor Series War Games a couple of weeks ago. Oh my God. Right? Oh my shitting Christing God. Right? Holy shit on a stick. Right? The storytelling in the men's War Games match, right? The story in it, I absolutely fucking loved, right? I think the Bloodline under Triple H is beautiful, right? I really, really do think it's fucking amazing, to say the least. Especially now Vince McMahon is thankfully no longer in the creative seat and in the creative driver's seat of WWE. Because if I was being perfectly honest with you, I was not a fan of the Bloodline under under Vince McMahon, sorry. But I am under Triple H, right? Because I think the whole sort of shenanigans under, with fucking Jey Uso, it was Jey Uso, wasn't it, and Sami Zayn, with Solo Sikoa being in the Bloodline, right? I absolutely adore it. I really do. Do you know what I mean? And to say the least, I do now think that the Bloodline is pretty much, out of all the wrestling that I watch, bearing in mind I watch a lot of wrestling, right? I am a massive smart mark in terms of Japanese wrestling, Mexican wrestling, British wrestling, and American wrestling, right? I have got to say, out of all the companies that I watch, AAA, CMLL, WWE, NXT, Progress, whatever, GCW, Game Changer Wrestling, House of Glory, in the NWA, who else do I watch? Pro Wrestling Noah, DDT Pro Wrestling, Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling, just to name a few, right? DDT, if I haven't said already, right? I do think the Bloodline are pretty much the best thing in professional wrestling and sports entertainment currently, right? Because I think you just need to, if you haven't already, then go ahead and watch Survivor Series from this year, right? As the storytelling in the War Games match, the men's War Games match, was absolutely fan-fucking-tastic. Do you know what I mean? The wrestling aspect side of things was incredible. The storytelling in it was amazing. It was immense, right? The storytelling for the build-up to the actual match was amazing. The storytelling since has been perfect, right? The whole Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens palaver that's going on, right, has been absolutely incredible. Do you know what I mean? Hence why I am now going to do some fantasy booking, because anyone who regularly listens to the Nerdic Pro podcast knows full well that I like a bit of fantasy booking. Now, me being the dumb fuck that I am, I was a twat and actually closed the notepad, the Nerdic Pro podcast notepad. So it's before this. So I've not actually done all my notes for it yet. So I'm going to read out pretty much word for word for what I've actually got written down for notes for some fantasy booking for the Bloodline. And if there's anything else that I want to sort of like add on top for what I'm actually saying, anything that I've just thought of or anything, like any like last minute thoughts, then I'll add them into my notes. Because yeah, so I mean, I'm someone who fucking writes a shitload of notes about wrestling. Do you know what I mean? Whether it be in AEW, WWE, the NWA, whatever. Do you know what I mean? I think the fantasy booking is something that where I can put my head down, right? Think of just some random shit, right? Random knockoff shit about professional wrestling, right? How I personally would have booked this, how I personally would have booked that, how I would personally like this current thing to be booked, how I would personally like that current thing to be booked, right? So my notes. So this is going to be like a bit of a cultaholic kind of thing. So yeah, Royal Rumble 2023. Either Sammy turns on Jimmy stroke Jey Uso stroke Solo Sikoa during the match, as I personally think that the story is going to be if any other member if any other member of the Bloodline that obviously ain't Roman Reigns actually ends up winning the 2023 Men's Royal Rumble match. So Jimmy Uso, Jey Uso, Solo Sikoa or Sami Zayn. Then it'll be Roman Reigns gets a bye at WrestleMania. So it'll be advertised that since a member of the Bloodline winning the Rumble, then obviously none of the Bloodline will not want to wrestle Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, so then he can actually get both nights of the WrestleMania 39 pay-per-view off. However, my Royal Rumble predictions are probably going to be somewhat controversial, but you know what? Fuck it. So, Jimmy Uso and Jey Uso and Solo Sikoa and Sami Zayn all enter as normal. Both Jimmy and Jey Uso get thrown out along the way and eliminated. Entrant number 30 just so happens to be the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes, as I've seen several reports and all that about Cody's healing process is going a lot better than expected. So hence why I have picked a Cody Rhodes surprise return at the number 30 spot in the Rumble match. So come the time Cody actually enters the match, I'm saying that there is probs going to be about 8 to a dozen, so 12 wrestlers / people / men still actually left in the match up to the point of Cody entering. With 4 of them being Sami Zayn, Solo Sikoa, Jimmy Uso and Jey Uso. Cody Rhodes manages to eliminate both Jimmy and Jey Uso, and we are down, and we are then currently left with our final 3. Cody Rhodes of Sami, Uso, Zayn, Solo Sikoa, and the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. Once all 3 men are actually on their feet and realise that they are actually the final 3 people actually left in the 2023 Royal Rumble men's match, there will then be a stare down. Sami Zayn and Solo Sikoa on one side of the ring, and Cody stood as the lone wolf on the other side. Solo Sikoa walks up towards Cody Rhodes to stare him down face to face, 1-on-1. Sami, he gets into the face of Cody Rhodes. Sami Zayn then comes up behind Solo Sikoa, low blow to Solo Sikoa, pushes Solo Sikoa into the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes grabs a hold of Solo Sikoa. Solo Sikoa then gets thrown over the top rope and is eliminated from the 2023 Royal Rumble match. Whilst Cody Rhodes is like, you've just been eliminated, you little bitch. Sami Zayn then sneakily goes up to Cody and throws Cody Rhodes over the top rope and eliminates the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes. So we are seeing Sami Zayn turn on Solo Sikoa and probably turning on the rest of the Bloodline faction. Right? So, Cody Rhodes enters at number 30 as a surprise return. He enters at number 30. Eliminates, there's probably going to be about 8 to a dozen wrestlers left in the match at this point. Right? And we then see Cody Rhodes eliminate the Usos, right? So Jimmy and Jey Uso, right? The final 3 then being so everyone else, so the other 8 to a dozen people get eliminated, as normal. Final 3 being Solo Sikoa, the Enforcer Solo Sikoa, Sami Uso Zayn, the Honorary Use Sami Zayn, and the American... Bear me 2 seconds. Someone fucking try and ring me. But, so what was I saying? So, final 3 being Solo Sikoa, Sami Zayn, and the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. So, All men managed to get to all men are down at this point. All managed to get to the feet, realise that they're currently the final three. We see on one side towards the entranceway, right? Solo Sikoa and Sami Zayn stood at the side of the entranceway, right? And then on the other side, in front of the commentators, we see the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes stood. There's a little mini stare down for about 30 to 45 seconds. Solo Sikoa walks up to the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes to stare him down face to face, one-on-one, man-to-man, top dog to top dog, the enforcer to the American Nightmare, the enforcer to the Nightmare, right? They're stood about 3 to 4 feet away. Sami Zayn's more towards the ropes. Solo Sikoa is far in front of Sami Zayn at this point. Sami Zayn grows a bit of a smirk on his face and goes up behind Solo Sikoa, low blows Solo Sikoa right in his nether region, pushes Solo Sikoa, the enforcer Solo Sikoa, towards the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes grabs a hold of the enforcer Solo Sikoa. The American Nightmare grabs a hold of the enforcer, slings him over the top rope, out in front of the commentators, right? Cody Rhodes is then distracted with Solo Sikoa, as Solo is out in pain as he's just been low blowed and eliminated from the 2023 Royal Rumble match. Sami Zayn, whilst Cody's still distracted, having a verbal confrontation with Solo Sikoa outside the ring. We then see Sami Zayn go up to the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes, right? From behind, low blows Cody, right? The honorary use, soon to not be the honorary use of Sami Zayn, low blows the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes, the grandson of a plumber, right? And then throws him over the top rope. Sami Zayn is your 2023 Men's WWE Titan Sports Inc. World Wrestling Entertainment 2023 Royal Rumble Match Men's winner. Bite me, bitch. It's on the fucking floor. Lovely. Right. Me fucking back, you cunt. Bastard. That was not a minute. Shit. Yeah, still in a bit of pain with the back, but you know, that should all be sorted, hopefully soon. Yeah. Bite me if you do not think that that is good fantasizing and good fantasy booking, and that will not happen, right? Because I can promise you now, it will, right? I can promise you now, Sami Zayn is going to win the 2023 Men's Royal Rumble match, right? And then turn, in the process of actually winning it, turn his back on the bloodline, right? Turn his back on Solo Sikoa, right? I'm going to fantasize Sami Zayn turning his back on the bloodline and sort of like honorarily leaving the bloodline on his own accord, or the bloodline kick out Solo Sikoa from the bloodline through Sami Zayn. So Roman wants Solo Sikoa out, right, of the bloodline. Point blank, full stop, that's it. Solo Sikoa get fucked, right? And then he does it through Sami Zayn. We don't see no segments or anything, no backstage promos, nothing of Roman Reigns asking Sami Zayn to kick Solo Sikoa out. All we see is the low blow with that. I will be doing some more fantasy booking of it. These are just my notes so far. So yeah, again, these are just my notes so far for the fantasy booking of Sami Zayn, the Bloodline, etc. I've not actually gone anywhere past the actual final bell to declare Sami Zayn the winner. Fucking bastard. But yeah, so yeah, I will be posting some more fantasy booking here on the Nerdic Pro Podcast Facebook page at some point in the next couple of days. I just need to get a few things sorted, like outside of the podcast, outside of wrestling, etc. So yeah, but yeah, so this now brings me to the end of today's podcast. I would like to thank the people who have been